afternoon. It's my privilege to preside over the closing ceremonies this afternoon. I'm Judge Margaret McEwen. I am a judge on the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. With 2 international land borders, a very long maritime border, we are the home of many, many international law cases. But I'm here at this dialogue because of my passion for the rule of law. I chair the American Bar Association Rule of Law Initiative, which we affectionately call ABA ROLI. In this project, the ABA works in over 50 countries to promote the rule of law. And we do that through partnerships with local and national entities in these various countries. We work with justice sector actors, lawyers, judges, prosecutors, government officials, and activists to build local capacity, to strengthen laws and legal institutions, and also to deliver on accountability on the national level. I'm also here on behalf of all of the entities of the American Bar Association who are co-sponsors of this amazing dialogue. That includes not only ABA Rule of Law Initiative, but the ABA Center for Human Rights, the ABA Criminal Justice Section, and the ABA section of international law. The theme of this year's gathering, A Lasting Legacy for the Future, encourages us to go back and mine that post-World War II history and also the Nuremberg legacy for lessons and inspiration for today's very significant justice challenges. We, of course, are gathered here in honor of the 70th anniversary of the Nuremberg judgments. And we celebrate remarkable progress to remember that just a lifetime ago, there was no international criminal law, no genocide convention, no Geneva conventions, and no international tribunal. And then here in Nuremberg, the wisdom, courage, foresight, and creativity of a few took hold and really changed the world. Of course, Nuremberg has come to represent a high water mark in international justice, and it represents both, I think, a legal landmark and also a legal standard. Justice Jackson, the chief prosecutor, looms large in our discussion all day about Nuremberg and its legacy. But I'd like to remind you that it was really quite remarkable to have a U.S. Justice, the United States Supreme Court, take leave of absence from the court. There was no precedent for this, and unlike in some countries, there was no statutory authorization for him to do this. When he left the 9-member court, it of course left the court with only 8 members, the circumstance that it finds itself in today as well, with only 8 justices. But one justice somewhat selfishly complained that what it did for him was simply cause extra work. I would suggest that justice was perhaps a little short-sighted. It was a time in history when extraordinary circumstances demanded extraordinary measures. So today, as we see situations that are in seemingly intractable, violent conflict, we see attacks on civilians, and we see atrocities of unspeakable barbarity. We do know that justice looms large. The law reaches far, and it reaches high. Heads of state can and have been held accountable. And again, we have seen that eventually accountability prevails. As it did here in Germany, justice permits us to move forward from conflict toward a lasting peace. And as we were reminded this morning, justice also provides a legacy for the victims. That's the legacy that we honor today, and that these modern-day prosecutors commit themselves to carry forward. You may have heard a little laughter and frivolity coming from that room back there where the prosecutors were meeting, and I suggest to you that that does not in any way detract from the seriousness of today's declaration. But instead, I suggest to you that it represents the joy that they feel of the prospect of being a participant in the system of justice about which they have made this declaration. So this is a tangible representation of their commitment and for our hope for even a brighter future Let me read to you the declaration. Declaration of the 10th International Humanitarian Law Dialogues at Nuremberg, September 29, 2016. In the spirit of humanity and peace, the assembled current and former international prosecutors and their representatives here at Nuremberg, Germany, recognizing the continuing need for justice and the rule of law as the foundation to international peace and security, and cognizant of the legacy of all those who preceded us at Nuremberg and elsewhere. Considering that the commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the judgments of the International Military Tribunal at Nuremberg is an appropriate occasion for renewal of international commitment to justice for all victims of atrocity crime. Acknowledging those judgments and the work of those at that tribunal that set the cornerstone for the modern system of international criminal law. Inspired by the commitment of the Nuremberg Tribunal to stay the hand of vengeance and subordinate power to reason. Noting with grave concern the ongoing attacks against civilian populations, including humanitarian actors in violation of the norms applied at Nuremberg and modern international criminal law. Commending Ambassador Christian Menevesser as the 8th representative of the Joshua Hines Humanitarian Award for his important and very impressive service to humanity. Celebrating the 10th anniversary of the International Humanitarian Law Dialogues. Now do solemnly declare and call upon the international community and international organizations to keep the spirit of the Nuremberg principles alive by promoting the independence of international and national judicial institutions, including shielding them from political interference, ensuring full accountability for all perpetrators of international crimes, such as enforcing warrants and judicial orders, protecting the integrity of judicial proceedings by guaranteeing witnesses and victims are free from threats and undue influence. Ensuring effective accountability for all international crimes, including sexual and gender-based crimes, crimes victimizing children, and crimes against cultural heritage. Providing full support to all international courts and tribunals in the exercise of their judicial and residual functions. Committing to capacity building based on best practices and their own experience in assisting jurisdictions to fulfill their complementarity obligations. Signed and mutual witness, Fatou Bensouda, Serge Bramitz, David M. Crane, Norman Farrow, Brenda J. Hollis, Hassan B. Jallow, Nicholas Koumjian, Robert Petit, and Stephen J. Rapp. So we'll now ask the prosecutors to sign the declaration. Please join me in thanking these prosecutors for this declaration. And we also thank them for their day in and day out efforts to secure justice and accountability. I can now tell you that I will declare the 10th International Humanitarian Law Dialogues at Nuremberg closed.